Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pat's podcast, I guess. This is my spin off series called Unfolding My Journey. And every episode, we're going to be talking about a different topic that has driven me these last 5 years to be the person that I am today. It's been a minute since I've been with you guys, so if you are still watching, thank you so much. And I really hope you do enjoy just a little follow up I'm going to do in this series. It's going to be a total of 7 episodes, and each of them is going to be unfolding my journey in a different step of my life that I've gone through. So this week, we're unfolding my journey on healing. And not only did I want to give a shout out to you guys for listening, if you still are, and if you heard the first podcast back in 2021, wow, thank you so much, because we're in 2026. Feel free to, I am going to reference it a lot, I feel like. So if you haven't seen it and you want to check it out, feel free to check that podcast out as well, because it was really, I think it was a really cool moment of my life to share. And I got to do it with a great friend who has encouraged me to continue doing exactly this, because I'm really nervous to be sitting here in front of the camera, recording myself speaking. I don't know what I'm going to end up saying. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Actually, I do, because I come prepared. If you're watching, you can see I'm a Pokemon fan, but you can also see that I have a lot of notes that I want to share with everyone. I've taken a lot of notes because I want to be kind of prepared about what I want to speak about in each episode. So if you haven't yet, also please follow my social media links. I will be, you can, Pat's Podcast on Instagram and Pat's Podcast on YouTube. You guys can watch us there. Or watch, it feels weird saying us, it's actually just me. You can watch me there. But yeah, so a lot has happened these last 5 years in my life. And, I don't want to say that I don't want to say that my life is horrible, but I have gone through a lot of stuff that I think has made my life very beautiful. I think life is a collection of moments that are both bad and good, but you get to enjoy the bad ones later on, not in the moment. And when I say enjoy them, I mean maybe look back, reflect on it, and see why it happened, because I really do believe everything happens for a reason, and everything that does happen is because we can handle it. So, unfolding my journey on healing, I think the last 5 years, a big thing for me has been destigmatizing what I go through. I think growing up with my family and the Hispanic culture kind of forced me to bottle everything in. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in Hispanic households. And I don't think that means not everyone can understand, but I do think that it is kind of niche to just Hispanics. But I understand that it's like that for every culture. We know we all have similarities, but at the same time we all have different cultural upbringings that set certain boundaries and certain limits within our household. So I think that for me, depression and anxiety was something that I saw as, if I bring this up, I'm going to be in trouble. If I bring this up, I'm going to be looked as weak. I'm going to be looked at as a burden. And even though in my previous podcast, 5 years ago, I was talking about it like if I was so comfortable expressing it, I think I was saying a lot without saying so much. Because at the same time, I didn't want the scenario where my family saw that episode and kind of started judging me, because at that moment in time they really were still very closed-minded. And I would really say that now, jumping 5 years later, they have helped me destigmatize myself from the ideas of my depression and my anxiety, and how I don't need to necessarily hide it, and how there's ways that I can cope, and how there's ways that I can be better, and how I can continue improving. And it's so shocking to me that the main source of that it has started to become my mom, because we go back 5 years and her point of view on even like therapy or anything like that was very different than what it is today. And she has evolved even in her own healing journey in such a beautiful way that has encouraged me to keep doing so. And I think it's a big reason of also why I'm sitting here with this podcast, is because it kind of opened my eyes to be like, it opened my eyes to see that there is still a lot of stigma in the Hispanic culture and in many cultures. I speak of experience within my culture, within my household, but I do understand that so many people experience the same thing in different households. So the idea that maybe I can contribute something to open somebody's eyes a little bit more, to just make somebody feel heard, seen, related to. I don't know what the word is. Um, can maybe help someone. And I think that is part of my healing process as well. And a lot of the closure that I need in my life, I'm going to get in the 7 Series podcast. Um, so, yeah, I mean, how I dealt with it personally, I think I hit a lot of stuff that I was feeling. I hit a lot of my traumas. I hit a lot of my anxieties, my down moments, because I didn't know how my family would see me. I didn't know how my friends would see me. But I also think that internally I was fighting the idea that I was weak, that I was kind of giving up, and that I was becoming a different person, or allowing this feeling to make me become a different person. And I hated that. So me pushing it down and not acknowledging it actually made me feel like I had some sort of control over who I was. But in reality, I was letting my emotions control me, because I couldn't just be me. I had to always pretend that I was okay. And I think that once I started realizing that, actually 2025 is when I started to, I think, become a better version of myself. And I say that in all aspects of caring for others, caring for myself. I went on a weight loss journey. I lost close to 36 pounds, because I was so unhappy. I think my body imitated that unhappiness in life form. And once I started feeling more comfortable with myself and with my, I guess, feelings, I felt more motivated to also lose weight, to feel good about my body, to be healthy, to eat better. Now I love cooking. I love cooking different meals, meal prepping, and it's actually something that I think I learned to like after I realized that, yeah, I had an eating disorder. And I have. I struggle with body dysmorphia. I struggle with um, anorexia, and I struggle with sometimes bulimia. And it's directly tied to my self-worth. It's directly tied to how I view myself, and the moment I step in front of a mirror, am I seeing a sad person, or am I seeing somebody who is content? And once I started realizing that, is really when I started, I think, you know, focusing more and working more and towards my weight loss journey and feeling better about myself in a healthy way. For the first time, I did it in a healthy way. I feel like that was once I kind of destigmatized all of that within my own head, within my own internal thoughts. And then what helped me even more was looking around me, my community that surrounded me, also not seeing me as somebody crazy, not seeing me as somebody with issues or problems, but just seeing me as like a normal person who just deals with things, in a different way, and that it was okay, that I just was trying to find who I was in the midst of all this like trauma awakening, and all in the midst of all this like, you know, kind of trying to control my mind rather than having my emotions control my mind, which was what was happening for so long. And then I got lost in who I was. I feel like I no longer knew who I was. I was not really in my body for a lot of the times in my early 20s that I can remember. And I did spend it a lot of the times going out, unhealthy drinking habits, which, thankfully I've cut off a lot, and I'm in a different journey now than that. And I really think it all started once I started destigmatizing it within my own mind, and also allowing other people around me to help me understand that it was okay, that there was no negative stigma surrounded in depression, in anxiety, in, my body dysmorphia, in my eating disorders, because so many other people actually suffer with all of this in different levels. We all suffer with a lot of stuff in different levels that sometimes we don't understand, that we're not crazy, we're human. We're actually human. And yeah, I think that's what definitely helped me realize it. Just to share, I guess, some personal experiences, because I do have it listed here that I wanted to share. My focus is supposed to be on mental health and personal growth. So like I have to, I think one big trauma in my life is growing up without a father, and growing up with being abandoned by my father. I currently don't really have a relationship with my dad, and I think that has brought me a lot more peace, which is another thing that I did, last year. I think it's been maybe a year and a half now. That's brought me a lot more peace in my life, because I no longer have this feeling of guilt, a feeling of, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I'm no longer tied to something that was weighing me down. I think that's a perfect way to describe it, because every time we would have a conversation, every time we would hang out, I left feeling worse than when I got there. And, it's a big cycle of, I think, emotional manipulation, also literal abandonment, like over and over again, where pops in and out, and there's no stability in having a father. And I also went through and saw a lot of the things that a kid normally doesn't see, and I don't think should see or be involved in. But, again, it's something with our culture that parents and, my father in my case, they're humans as well. So I think they're navigating their own stuff and their own traumas. And I understand that now. I really do. I think as an adult, I now understand that they were trying to live life, figuring their stuff out, but while having kids. So I imagine myself right now with having kids, and how would I have figured that out? It's pretty crazy. Like, I don't know how easy it would have been. I don't think it would have been easy at all. So I don't judge my dad. I don't hold resentment towards him. I just know that I'm better off without him in my life. And I came to that conclusion once I realized how the emotional manipulation worked for him, just not for me. I sincerely don't understand his thinking. I don't judge him for it, but I don't understand it. Neither do I want to. And I don't say that in a mean way. I just don't think it's my I don't no longer think it's my responsibility to, because I've tried. And you know what? It just makes me happier to not have to deal with him, you know? And I think in a way it's kind of relieving for him. I don't know. But I do know that the impact that it had on me was my self worth was very low for a long time. That being one big reason, because it's like, how are you supposed to feel when the one person who helped create you, who helped make you, who you are a part of, just decides that you're not worthy enough to be in their life? And I think that's the whole thing that I was trying to say, is he decided that multiple times because he came in and out, and I will no longer allow him to decide that for me. I have decided for myself that I will not allow him to re-enter and exit my life over and over again at his will, at his benefit. I think that helped me with my self-worth. I think it helped me with me realizing that my worth is not tied to somebody's approval. It's only tied to what I think of myself and my approval. And not my father's in this case. I think him leaving also it did take a financial strain in my family. We were very poor for a long time of our life, and not having a lot of support, but also having to see my mom be both a father and a mother, a provider and a caretaker. And maybe she focused more on providing because that's what she knew we needed to survive, rather than emotional guidance and stuff. But before, I think I resented her for it. Now I actually don't. I understand her a lot more. I actually appreciate all the work she's done. I always appreciate all the work she did, and I never had any hate for my mom. I just admire her. And so it's kind of crazy just to think that she was raising 4 kids on her own for a bit, you know? and and but that period of my life where we had very little money had an effect in my life as an adult, because I not craved, I never wanted to feel like I didn't have money. So for me, it was always work, and financial and material goals, because I think my balance was way off on that, because I felt like if I didn't have money, then I was going to suffer again. And I actually went through that through therapy, which is why I recommend a lot of people take therapy at least once in their life. You don't have to do years of therapy. Try 1 month, 4 sessions, try 1 session. I think it's very helpful. And I think it's, yeah, I don't think you can lose anything in it. You either like it or you don't. And if you don't do it again. Then we continue going on to just a lot of having to be an emotional support for my family members when I needed one, because I was going through a lot of stuff emotionally because of abandonment, because of abuse. But I was kind of the pillar, I guess, for a lot of people in my family, my siblings, my mom, and I liked it. I genuinely enjoyed it, and I genuinely am so thankful that I was able to do that, and I'm proud that I was able to do that. But there was a moment where I had to take a step back, because I then now needed to focus on me, because if not, I was gonna break. I was having several breakdowns. I think that's where my panic attacks came from. I think my anxiety attacks came from it, because I was taking in a lot more things that I could bear. I barely had enough room for my stuff, and I was bringing in other people's stuff. So yeah, as a 25-year-old now, I look back to 15-year-old me and the thoughts that I had then, it was honestly, I went through a lot of suicidal thoughts, and I went through suicide attempts that thankfully did not, work. I laugh a lot when I cope. Side note, my therapist said that when I talk about sad things, I often smile or laugh, and that it's a coping thing, because I remembered explaining to him in a lot of detail certain stuff, and he is like, that is very, very deep stuff. But I noticed you were smiling and laughing, and I didn't even realize it until he pointed out. So just putting that out there so you guys don't think I'm laughing and making fun of it. It's just how I think I process things. Going back. As a 25-year-old now, I look back at my life and I am thankful that I'm here. I'm thankful that I'm alive. I'm thankful that the thoughts in my head back then have evolved into, I don't know, have evolved into a more appreciation of life rather than thinking that I needed to end my life. And those are hard moments that when I think about the consequences that could have been, or just the outcome that could have been when I was found, or if I was found, by who I was found by. And I've realized that I had to forgive myself for putting myself through that and not hating myself for trying to end my life. But I also think that if I had never gone through certain things like that in the past, I would probably, no, not probably, I would be a completely different person. I don't know what type of person I would be. Would I be less sympathetic? Would I be more extroverted? I work on my shyness a lot. A lot of people think I'm very naturally extroverted. It costs me a lot. Like, after I finish being like social, I'm so drained. I'm so sad sometimes. I'm so overwhelmed. I have panic attacks. It's because I'm just a shy person. Within my circle, I'm very outgoing, but outside of my circle, and it takes a lot of time for me to get comfortable with some people. I think that's why sometimes people think I'm mean. I'm not mean. I'm just shy and I get nervous, and then my face is like, I have a bad like case of like just resting face when I'm shy and nervous or scared, and it takes a while for me to approach someone, but then somebody doesn't find me approachable, I feel like. So it's a lot of back and forth. And for a few months last year, I really just changed completely who I was. I forced myself to be more extroverted. I forced myself to be more open emotionally, more open, like raise my walls up, force myself for everything to let people in, because I needed to find a balance. And so I went from one extreme to the other, and I ended up crashing. I ended up crashing really bad. I did not like the person I was becoming. I think other people might have found me a little bit irritating. I don't know. I struggle a lot with thinking people find me irritating, with thinking people kind of find me as a burden, don't want me in their presence. And I think it's because I'm constantly being used in my life by people in my life, So I never feel like somebody's actually interested in knowing me, rather than taking advantage of something that they want and then leaving, which is, another thing that constantly happens in my life that has traumatized me into not wanting to be friends with people, not wanting to be outgoing, being very closed off and shy. And so with all of that, I give you guys a little glimpse in my traumas as well before when I was explaining them. All of that was in every decision I was making, because I was letting myself be identified by the trauma rather than by who I was. Because I don't remember who I am before my trauma. I don't remember who I was before, like naturally, who I naturally was, like as a person. I think the ending part of 2025 was that for me, was trying to find my balance of who I like to be, what I want to do, what kind of person I want to be, and just finding a balance in things in my life, and trying to find who I am without the effects of like my emotions and my trauma. I figured that out with a lot of coping strategies. So a lot of things I was doing was therapy. Therapy helped me out a lot. Journaling, exercise, working helped me out a lot, because I was distracted. It would give me a reason to get out of bed. And actually, funny enough, the reason I'm actually doing this episode in my bed, because every episode is actually going to be in a different place. This episode is specifically being filmed in my bed because I think a lot of my healing journey has been done here in my bed. It's been done when I go to sleep, when I wake up, and the amount of effort it takes for me to get up out of this bed every day. So it's kind of like a poke at the fact that I'm here talking about healing in the place that I felt most destroyed in, yet I ended up coming up healed from. It's so weird, so corny. Sleep actually helped me out a lot. Get enough hours of sleep. I think I am working on my eating habits and remembering to eat. And my main form of help has been music. I've written a lot of songs. I've written a lot of music. I've read a lot of poetry. I've listened to a lot of music. And that has really helped me heal. It really has. It has helped me find my feelings when I don't understand them. It has helped me cope, kind of journey out my feelings, and think back. A lot of my memories were just wiped from my brain. Like I truly had very little recollection of up to like high school, and even high school sometimes is a blur. Music has brought that back a lot, and I started looking at a lot of pictures. I've always taken pictures and videos in my life, and one of the main reasons I think is because I always forget like what happens in my life, so I like capturing it, but I forget because my brain tends to black out anything that makes me feel something, because I became kind of like an emotional robot. Like I was just wanting to be numb, and so anything that made me feel something that I didn't like, my brain was like erase. So looking back at pictures, and I'm talking pictures when I was a kid, videos from when I was a kid till now, like that has helped me so much. That has helped me so much, and kind of remembering the good moments of my life, not only the bad ones, and also realizing that throughout every step I was actually supporting and uplifting myself without even realizing, and how strong I actually am for doing that throughout all these years. So I don't think I would have realized that I needed to do that had I not gone to therapy, because my therapist started talking to me about, well, how much do I remember? And I said very little. And he's like, well, have you tried looking at pictures? And I was like, I actually have a lot of pictures and I've never tried looking at pictures or videos. He's like, do you take a lot of pictures? I'm like, I do. I have over 16,000 pictures and videos right now in my camera roll, because it's just something that I like doing. And that has helped me out so much. If you haven't tried journaling yet, try journaling. Try words of manifestation. When you wake up, manifest the kind of person you want to be. Tell yourself the kind of person you are, that you're striving to be, because our brain can quickly go to like negative thoughts, negative, and it's easier to say it out loud than to think positive thoughts. So when I say positive things out loud to myself, it sticks in my brain rather than I'm trying to convince myself to think it. Stop thinking. Say it. Write it down. Say it. So your brain can hear it. Your mind can hear it. That journey in itself has brought in so many tears, so many laughter, so many smiles, so many feelings and emotions that I've learned to now relate to. For example, when I get angry, why do I get angry? Where does my anger come from when I'm late to a place? Where does my frustration come from when I don't feel heard? Where does my anxiety come from when I feel like I'm failing, when I feel like I'm letting people down? Where does it all stem from? And trying to cure that part of that child that never healed at that moment, that didn't know how to process it at that moment, that's now carried on to today. And I keep pictures of myself as my younger self around for that reason, because I want to go back to who I was when I was younger, in the sense of innocence, in the sense of hopeful. And I think that's what growth and resilience really is kind of just seeing all the challenges you face at one time, but that all shaped you to try and experience life, and then all of a sudden crash and burn. And how did I react to that at that moment? How did I react to it? And who am I now? Who am I allowing myself to be now? And that shows resilience. That shows how strong of a person we can be. Honestly, we don't have to do it alone. We don't have to be that strong alone. I've realized through the many people that have come in and out of my life that support systems are important. I don't know if I'll ever have a permanent support system outside of my family, because honestly, I feel like my family has been the only support system I've had since the beginning, even though it wasn't a, a functioning support system. I think I have always had them. I've always had my sisters. I've always had my brother and my mom. Am I using them more now? Yeah. Are they allowing me to use them more now? Yeah. It took building that support system within my own family for years. And so, will I ever have that outside my family? I don't know. I think friends can come and go a lot of the times, and they're great support systems for the time that they're in our life. But once it's a weird thing. Friends is a weird thing. That's actually gonna be a whole other episode, but I think we do pull from our friends, our family, the support that we need, and not in a selfish way. We find it through love. I think we find our support system is actually just love, because when somebody loves you, it's unconditional, and that love makes you feel seen. It makes you feel worthy. It makes your self-worth grow. So whenever somebody's providing you that, we also, like, I had to learn to make sure that I wasn't confusing it for something that I needed, you know, that exists as a support system, but it is not the system. If that makes sense. It supports you. It does not hold you up. It's not the base. It's a support. So it kind of pushes you up when you already have a base, but you need to have that base, And so I think that was confusing for me at times, because I relied too much on my support system when I was running out of my base. I'd had no more within me. And that's good. We can't let ourselves run dry and expect other people to fill us up with things that we need. We can't, because you can't fill up a car with gas if there's no car. You can't build a house if there's no foundation. So one thing I learned is how to healthily rely on my support system, and I don't want to say using them, because I didn't use them, but allowing them to help me, allowing them to express their love, allowing them to make me feel seen and heard and understood, so that when I was running out, they could replenish it, replenish what I needed to hear at the moment, what I needed support on in the moment. And sometimes their water runs out, and that's okay. And support systems are always growing and changing and evolving. So it's super important for us to be able to balance our own mental health, be able not to rely on others for it, but to rely on ourselves. And well, I personally choose to rely on God as well. I think God has helped me a lot, just feeling less alone. And the more we grow personally as a person and emotionally, the more our mental wellness will improve. And we have to learn how to balance it day to day. It's not, this is it forever. No, this is it for today. This is what I need today. And what I'll need tomorrow, I'll focus on tomorrow. And that's something that I needed to learn on as well, because I was focusing on tomorrow, 2 weeks, a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, all in one day, and I was getting nothing done. And so when we break things down, and what do I need to focus on today? What do I need to remind myself today? I will let what the future me needs handle it in the future. That really saved my life. I think that really saved my life, because I was no longer allowing my past to come and burden me, and now I was no longer allowing my future to come and burden me as well. I was living in the moment. I am living in the moment. I'm living in who I want to be today, and I'm working on who I want to be today so that tomorrow I'm a better person. And then what do I need tomorrow? I'll work on tomorrow. What I needed 5 years ago, I can't change, and I can't give myself that from 5 years ago. What I needed when I was 6, 8, 10, I can't go back and give that kid what he needed. I can't change the past. I can only learn from it, and I can evolve from it. So once I started accepting that, it started allowing me to grow as a person, grow as who I want to be emotionally, who I want to be as a person. I'm a very empathetic person, so it actually hurts a lot of the times when I think back at my own self, and when I think on like my parents' life, and when I think of my siblings' life, when I think about anyone's life that I don't even know, sometimes like I get very emotional. So learning how to control those emotions and not letting that drive my decision making, because we do have to be less emotionally based when we make our decisions, because emotions can sometimes lead us to do things out of desperation, out of anxiety, and we don't want to do things without having a clear mind. So what I do is I kind of feel whatever I need to feel in that moment, allow myself to feel that, and then allow myself to get out of that to make a decision when I need to make one. And I know I've been just yapping away, but this has been my journey on healing the last 5 years. I think 5 years ago I had a very optimistic view, and then a year after that I had a very busy lifestyle with opening up my agency, with I was 20 at the time. I'm 25 now. So much has changed, and I don't even feel like 5 years has passed. Like, it's crazy to think that much time has passed, but it really has. And in those 5 years, a lot of things have happened. I've gained a lot of things. I've lost a lot of things. I've lost a lot of people in my life. I've gained a lot of people in my life. I continue to lose and gain people. I think that's something that I need to learn. Well, that's my next part of my healing process, is not feeling abandoned. I can't feel abandoned when people choose to live their own life, because that's their life. And I can't expect other people to care the same about me than how I care about them. And I think that goes with my wanting to be accepted, wanting to be loved, wanting to be not abandoned, that I give everything and more. And when I don't receive that in return, I feel abandoned. That's not on the other person. People are going to be themselves. And at the end of the day, most people look out for their best interest. And it's sad to say, but it's true. And I need to learn how to also look out for my best interest, but not in a way where I'm hurting others or being selfish. Most importantly, not in a way where I'm hurting myself. So yeah, hopefully you guys take something away that you feel you can relate to. Something that helped me feel understood has been music. And so one thing I'm going to incorporate in my episodes are actually going to be Song of the Week. So this week's Song of the Week is Past Won't Leave My Bed by Joji. If you haven't heard the song, honestly, you need to. Like, I actually want you to pause this episode, go listen to the song, and then come back, because that song is so beautiful. It kind of feels like a mental health check-in. Really, what Joji starts singing about is how sleep kind of lingers as like a constant reminder of the past. And that's really been the moment I go to sleep, my whole life flashes before my eyes, everything I did wrong, and I start overthinking everything. And I think Joji actually perfectly captures that feeling of when you're trying to move on from something, but your past just doesn't let you, and you're kind of like reliving it when you thought you moved on from it already. It addresses being alone, feeling stuck, and waking up with memories that you thought were way behind you. Memories that just seem to always be there when you go to sleep. You're laying down to go to sleep, you relive your worst memories, your worst feelings, emotions, and then you wake up and it's still there. It's kind of like, what is going on? It's scary because it's not like loud, if that makes sense. It's kind of super quiet. Like it creeps up on you. It feels heavy. Like technically you're past it, but emotionally you're still carrying it. That's why it feels so subtle, because you've technically moved past it. You're in a different stage in your life. You no longer let it affect you. Yet here in some moments, and it's not only necessarily when you're sleeping, it can be at any moment, because something can always trigger a memory. You going to a park, you going to a restaurant, you listening to a specific song triggers a memory that you thought you had moved past, but emotionally your body and your mind is still connected to it, and it starts pulling you backward. To me, that song is really talking about a stage of healing that nobody talks about, really. When you're functioning, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but mentally and emotionally you're still carrying something from the past. I kept going back and listening and re-listening to the song because it kind of captures that quiet emotional weight that doesn't really just go away just because time passes, just because a year passes, because 2 years pass, because 6 months, a month pass. You aren't automatically cured. You're not automatically freed from any emotion and any trauma or any memory affecting you. No, it carries on with you for life. I think it's something that will carry on for you forever. And slowly and little by little, it'll have less of an effect. But sometimes because you're in a bad mood and then you remember something, that effect is actually stronger at that time than it was a year ago. Well, I think that the song does a really good job at pointing out that personal growth isn't always just about moving on. Like, oh, I moved on, I'm over it, done, fast. No. Sometimes it's about realizing that the past is still there. Maybe it'll always be there. And acknowledging that and learning how to live without letting it control you, rather you controlling your own mind. I think the beautiful part of the song is that it doesn't feel like it's rushing the healing process. It actually feels like you're going through different stages and sometimes going backward, going forward, and just that's how life is going to be. And I think that's really beautiful. I think it's really realistic. I think it's something super relatable, and I commend Joji for that. And I don't think we talk about that enough, how healing isn't really linear, because you could be doing so much better one day and then the next you're not. And honestly, that doesn't really mean you're failing. It just means you're human, and you have to learn a new way to now cope every single time. And it could be very tiring, but at the same time, it could be very healing to do it. Every time you take that little effort, or sometimes big efforts, to heal that part, when something comes up, you will thank yourself in the future. Like your future self will thank your past self, because you will now start healing it more and more and allowing yourself to heal in a more whole and complete way. I think our past is always going to be there. Obviously, literally, it's always going to be there, but emotionally, I think that baggage will always be there. Sometimes it'll be lighter and sometimes it'll be heavier. It's just about learning how to control it, and I think the song does beautiful justice to that. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoy that song. Take a listen to it. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. If you're watching on YouTube, comment down below, if you've heard the song before, what you think about it, and also how your own healing journey has been going. I would love, you don't have to comment it. You can DM me. I would love to have conversations with people about how they're healing. And if you were able to take anything away from my own journey, if you were able to feel heard, feel seen, feel understood, I would appreciate you reaching out and letting me know. I think that's what the purpose of anyone speaking about anything should be, is just finding common ground, finding humanity within everyone. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's my first one of 7. I will have 7 total episodes, and they'll be coming out every Thursday. And please let me know if you guys have any questions. Feel free to reach out to me, and maybe we can dig a little bit more deeper into certain topics and certain points that maybe brushed past. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Please remember to give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and rate 5 stars if you're listening on a streaming service. And follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is John Cam, so it's JAAAHNCAM, and you can also find me at Pat's Podcast on Instagram and YouTube. And I'm so happy that I get to be doing this again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening, and I look forward to sharing a little bit more about my journey in the following episodes that are to come. So I'll see you guys next Thursday. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Also, guys, I really wanted to share that I'm really excited for 2026. I think 2026 is going to be a very special year. For me, at least. No, wait. I didn't mean it like that. I meant like for everyone, but I'm talking about myself, if that makes sense. Oh no, I sound so selfish probably. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to say that I think 2026 is going to be a very special year, and that I'm glad that I haven't given up, that I didn't give up, because I actually see this year being very pillar in my life. I think a lot of things are going to happen for me in my career. And I think that I get to enjoy now more of my freedom and time to do things that I've always wanted to do, like continue my podcast. So I'm excited to be able to start, 2026 with you guys, with whoever's listening and whoever will listen, and this journey in my podcast, unfolding my journey. I don't know, guys, but thank you guys so much for watching and for listening, and I'm looking forward to what this year has to bring. So hopefully you guys stay with that same positive attitude. 2026 is our year. Don't give up, because if we give up, then we will never know when it's finally our time. Okay, so I will see you guys next week. Take care.